Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm just going to be continuing with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but before I forget, I completely forgot to show you a closer version of the Inference Extract one. So you can have a look at that now, and if you want to copy anything down or take a screenshot, please do so. But we're going to move on to looking at chapter 2, and I think a really good focus here is structural devices. Now, I know a lot of you struggle with structural devices. Sometimes you get them mixed up with language techniques, but structure and form can be quite a challenge. So what we're going to do today is I'm showing you lots of different structural devices here. So structure is the way a text has been put together, and these are just some of the devices that you can refer to. There are plenty more that I'm sure you would have come across or will come across just before your exam. So you've got this idea of introduction of new characters as a structural device, change in time as a structural device, change in tone, dialogue, introduction of or change in setting, and the punctuation in particular, and where the punctuation takes place as well as a structural device. So just before you move on to the first activity for today's session, what I would suggest is that you read chapter 2 in detail. While you're reading, I should also add that it is a good idea to annotate and keep adding words to your vocabulary list and using them as and when possible. Once you've done that, read the example extract from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And today's focus, like I said, is looking at structural devices. So what you need to do is you need to find them and highlight them in the extract that I'm going to show you now. So it might be easier for you to find it in your own version of the novella, starting with that evening Mr. Utterson came home, and it ends with flashing suddenly purple. So on the left-hand side of the page, it will tell you exactly what you need to do. So step 1 is to highlight the part of the extract where the writer establishes a sense of time and place. So for example, this would be a really good example here of a sense of time and place. Then if you think there's any more examples, try to look for them yourself and highlight them. Maybe in a different colour, zoom in to parts of the extract, especially on what Utterson would usually be doing on a Sunday night. So it was his custom on a Sunday when this meal was over to sit close by the fire. So maybe something around here in a different colour, and so forth. Okay, so I'm not going to actually do it for you. So work through all of these right to the bottom, because they're all focusing on structure, which is of course today's aim. So well done so far. I mean, that's the easy bit, to actually find the examples of structure, but unfortunately that's not going to get you a level 8 or a 9, which is what you are aiming for. You need to think about why. So why is it that Stevenson has used these structural features to interest the reader, to interest us as a reader? So you need to think about that. Please don't use words like makes us want to read on, or because it sounds good, or we learn about the setting. It's still, you need to expand on that idea. Okay, so moving away from level 1 or 2 responses to something a little bit more eloquent and well thought of. Okay, and once you've done that, you can actually write an essay question on this. So how does Stevenson use structure in the opening of chapter 2 to interest the reader? Okay, so your next task is, which is the correct analysis of structure? So you need to read through both of them and say why. Now, I had a read of these. I still think that, you can make some more adjustments. There are certain words, this is shown in the quotation, I completely dislike that. That word quotation, you can replace it with something else or completely get rid of it. But yeah, so have a good read through this and see what you can do to maybe change both of them, but then also to describe and see which one is the best analysis of structure. Okay, and here is a really great example of an essay plan. So as I said to you about a minute ago, you might want to actually write the whole essay question based on setting. So each of these boxes gives you a clear topic sentence. So you can start off with the extract zooms in on what Utterson would usually be doing on a Sunday night, and then quote analysis. As the extract progresses, the writer zooms in on Dr. Jekyll's will, quote analysis, and so on. I'm going to give you some really good key terms here as well that you can use. So the author then introduces, is always a nice one to use, or the author goes back to, juxtaposes, shifts away from. So there's lots of really great vocabulary that you can be using when you answer your questions. And even though this is just based on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you can be applying this plan in particular to other texts, Christmas Carol, for example, or Inspector Calls, or Great Expectations, or whatever text you're looking at. So you can make those changes and apply them elsewhere as well. Okay, and just to finish off with, you can apply the same techniques to language. So, as you've already looked at structure, you might actually use the same extract that has been provided and highlight all the different language devices that have been used. And then you can use similar terminology that's here. But instead of these topic sentences being related to structure, you can just use them for language. And actually, in 6 or 7 minutes of this session, you would have 2 great examples of essay questions that you can write, one focusing on language and structure. And then, just an opinion of my own, you can get your teacher to mark it, or you can work in groups and peer assess them together. And then you can have a look and see what is language and what is structure, and you have 2 finished essays that you've practiced. And remember, practice makes perfect, honestly. I know it sounds cliche, but best marks, the level 8s and 9s, are students who write practice essays. So I hope that was useful. It was just a quick insight into analysing structure and a little bit of how you can apply that to language skills as well. Please comment below once again if there are any questions or anything that you're unsure about. Thank you.